The 2012 Mazda Racing Series is now well underway, and after a tricky weekend around the Silverstone National Circuit, the circus has travelled here to Norfolk, the most easterly track in the UK. It's wet, it's cold and windy, it's Snetterton. The Mark1s take centre stage in this show, and in rounds 1 and 2, it was 2011 champion Tom Roche who took 2 wins and 2 fastest laps to bring 202 points here to Snetterton. James Blake Baldwin and Brian Chandler lead the pursuit, but with a field of over 100 entrants, victory really could be anyone's. We have 5 of the most frenetic races you've seen in a long time, as is traditional with the Mark1 Mazdas. And to untangle all the chaos, here's Ben Constanduris in the comms box.
Race 1 is for groups D and E, and it puts Rhys Jenkins on pole position. Eduardo Rodriguez from the Bellindi Motorsport team in the second spot. On row 2, Alan Henderson and Brett Smith, Richard Lambert and Daniel Rogers on row 3. And we are underway, and it looks like a pretty even start from the front few rows of the grid. Lots and lots of spray being kicked up. It's always monsoon rain we've had here at Snetterton this weekend. We go on board with the 22 car of Chris Hart, and we turn our way through turn 1 here at Snetterton. We're using the 300 circuit this weekend. It means a hairpin is coming up and a big braking zone. That is Alan Henderson in the 90 car going up the inside of Eduardo Rodriguez. That is for second position because Rhys Jenkins has made a fantastic start at the front row of the grid, and poor old Eduardo Rodriguez being hustled and bustled down the field. Not a good start from the Bellindi Motorsport man. There, however, is our leader, Rhys Jenkins, followed by Alan Henderson. In third position now is the 39 car of Brett Smith, and he's come up already from fourth position on the grid. And now the second of the hairpins, missing the apex to try and find as much grip as possible. And there's still plenty of battling going on. Back on board with Chris Hart, a little bit cautious on the brakes as we go into the hairpin, and they're all tiptoeing their way round. Staying on line like that, and there's absolutely no grip there whatsoever. Side by side though, further up to the field is Matthew Lambert, and he's making his way up from row 9 on the grid. Just passing the 31 car is Simon Baldwin from Reigate. And just running a little bit wide there, Rhys Jenkins through Williams. Alan Henderson really on his tail already in these early laps, putting a lot of pressure on Jenkins, who hails from Bicester, although I'm sure he's Welsh in some shape or form. Down the long back straight here at Snetterton towards the S's. Henderson looks to the inside of Jenkins, and he's going to get the line. Much more confident on the brakes, and already takes the position. Now puts his car on the inside line at the second part of the S's, protects the inside line, and a lovely move then from Henderson to put him into the lead. Jenkins down to second. Well, Rhys Jenkins is coming into this weekend second in the championship after a third and a second at Silverstone. We'll be looking to improve on that. And in qualifying Group 1, he was second fastest, but quite a long way slower than Tom Roach, who is the man to beat in this championship, as Nat said at the start of the programme. So the top 4 have broken away then. In 5th position, Martin Tolley, and then a fast starting Matthew Lambert in 6th position, and we follow David Evans over towards the start and finishing line. There are front 4 all together, picking up each other's slipstream and therefore helping each other break away from the chasing pack. Alan Henderson, Rhys Jenkins turns his way through the first turn, and then it's Brett Smith, Eduardo Rodriguez slipping from 2nd to 4th in a lap, heading towards the hairpin. Stay away from the apex, because where the rubber's been laid down and the water then combines with it, it's extremely slippery. And they all managed to negotiate their way around there safely. Looks like Henderson's got the legs though on the chasing pack. Again, missing the apex, staying away from the grippy stuff that you'd normally see them on when they are in dry conditions. And maybe, just maybe, we'll have some dry conditions by the end of the weekend. But it's certainly dreadful conditions for this first race. Very slippery indeed, and a big test for these Kumo tyres, new to the championship this year. It's the first time that these Mark1 cars have raced on the Snetterton 300 circuit. Last year, racing on the 200 circuit, although the new layout for Snetterton was actually around at that particular point. I did have a 12-hour race here in November and a few of these guys took part, but most of the huge grid we have are getting used to and new and learning this rather long Snetterton 300 circuit. 300 meaning it's just a tad shy of 3 miles. Well, Rhys Jenkins is keeping Henderson honest. In fact, gets a good run out of that corner, and we've got someone facing the wrong direction, and that's the 86 car of Peter Stratton. Was last over the line after the first lap, and he's going to be even further behind now after the second lap. Plenty of battling going on further in the mid-pack though. A quick look at the 45 car of Gary Hulford, engaged in a frantic battle with Joshua Jackson, that looks like, in the 172 car, and just behind them is the 8 car of Marco Achem, and they are battling for... Whoa, big slide from Gary going through the bomb hole. They're battling just outside the top 10, and I think Marco's going to grab that position. We go on board with Chris Hart, who's lost 2 positions going into Nelson. It was the S's. Whoops, and it looks like Matteo Cianfioni's gone well wide in the number 10 car run by Bellindi Motorsport. Covered it in mud on the exit there. Jonathan Palmer's going to have a big bill of going out to various drivers, ruining his lovely grass here at Snetterton. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, we've got 2 very distinct battles now. One for the lead, one for the third spot. And it looks like Rhys Jenkins is lining up a pass on Alan Henderson, who gets a little bit of a slide on, going through the first hairpin. Now onto the infield section, through Palmer. This quick left-hander. The car's not sliding around too much. They look like, in fact, there's a little bit of understeer locked into Alan Henderson's car. Now the race is coming to its concluding stages. And Rhys Jenkins gets into the slipstream, and down the inside he's going to take that position nice and easily. He positions the car so there's no way that Henderson can cut back and get the overlap on the exit. Good pass then from Rhys Jenkins to put himself back in the lead ahead of Alan Henderson. Doesn't look like it's finished yet though. The pass started over the start and finishing line. Jenkins was a bit faster through turn 1 and managed to make up the ground, but Henderson is looking menacing now and getting right onto the tail into the second part of this infield section. Couldn't find a way past, and in fact gets a little bit of a slide on as well on the exit. So understeer through the fast corners, and then a little bit of oversteer under acceleration for Henderson. Jenkins runs a little bit wide, but I guess everything's as wet as each other now. Oops. Gary Holford's off once again in the finish line motorsports car. Always immaculately prepared. Oh, Matteo goes round again. He's a novice to the racing. You can tell that by the cross at the back. He'll be making his way back onto the circuit, albeit well back. So Brett Smith's still there in third position, ready to pounce if either of these two make a mistake with the pressure of leading the race. A big slide from Rhys Jenkins through the final few turns. And they're heading towards the start and finishing line to pick up the last lap board. One more opportunity then for Henderson to attack. I don't think Brett Smith is close enough to make a legitimate pass, but there is the opportunity if these 2 guys at front get together. Eduardo Rodriguez also there, hanging on in 4th position. They've got back markers ahead as well. And that is the 86 car that we saw spinning earlier on of Peter Stratton. Whoops! Just about keeps it out the barriers. Pietrafessa for the Ma5da Speed team, getting it all very wrong. Oh, and the back marker is compromised Rhys Jenkins just a little bit. He had to take himself offline to get past, and for a moment it looked like Alan Henderson was going to dive up the inside and take the position there and then. And now look at the cars moving around on this wet conditions. Bit of a slide on the exit as well. Fantastic little things to drive. So much fun. And very cheap racing. The pinnacle of club motorsport this is. Turns his way through the second of the hairpins. Henderson's looking fiery. And there is Rodriguez in 4th position, as he's been since his first lap, where he dropped down to 4th spot. Fast left-hander followed by a braking zone, and then a tight right-hander here. And then onto Williams and back onto the old Snetterton circuit. It's much loved. Drivers still very much enjoying the 300 circuit this weekend though. big challenge, a long lap as well. Heading down towards the last few turns. Whip, around goes the 47 car. Not too much damage done there. Stephen Craggs gets himself facing the right direction, and off he goes again. There's Rodriguez challenging Brett Smith, so somewhere Brett Smith has made a mistake, and Eduardo Rodriguez now looking to make a pass at the final turn. Can he do it? I'm not sure he can. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, it's very, very close for the lead of the race, and of course, one more corner to make it happen. Reece Jenkins goes defensive on the inside. Alan Henderson goes to the outside. There's almost an overlap, but no way to get past. Oh, but he doesn't hang on to the apex, and now it's side by side. Henderson on the left-hand side of the screen. Reece Jenkins to the right. It's completely side by side. There's nothing more they can do except rely on the horsepower of their Mazdas over the start and finishing line to take the checker flag, and that looked like it was Henderson who just about took victory after leading for most of the race. Jenkins was just too defensive through that final turn. The winds eluded him at Silverstone, and I think it's eluded him here, race 1 at Snetterton, because it's Henderson ahead of Jenkins, Smith and Rodriguez, and then Matthew Lambert, a great race, up to 5th position after starting on 18th. Martin Tolley, Richard Lambert and David Evans.
I got a good start, managed to get into the lead quite early on, and I was trying to really hold the lead for the full race because I could see where I was going. And Reece came past, and he was quicker than me in qualifying, so I just thought I'll just try and hang on to the back of him, see what he does different to me. Managed to hold on, and I thought if I can pass, obviously I will, and I was in the position to do so on the last corner of the last lap, so I would be stupid not to go for it, really. So.
Well, that was a very exciting finish there for Alan, winning by 0.04 of a second. Join us for more racing here at Snetterton after the break. Welcome back to quite a wet and cold weekend here at Snetterton. It's very slippery out on the track, not so exciting for the drivers, but very exciting for us watching. Let's catch up with the action from Groups B and C.
Pole position is Ben Short, and James Blake Baldwin 2nd spot. Brian Chandler and Ed Gay share row 2. Charlie Sharman and Alex Preston on row 3. And as you can see, it's absolutely hooning it down here at Snetterton. It's still soaking wet, and we've got a full grid of Mazdas. Hopefully they're going to behave themselves. Heading towards turn 1, then Ben Short on the inside line, but Blake Baldwin looks like he's got the whole shot. Going to try and go around the outside. It's slightly more grippier there because it's not on the racing line, and therefore far more grip, and it looks like Blake Baldwin's got himself a comfortable lead going into the hairpin. Great stuff from the man who was looking very, very strong at Silverstone. Took a victory there. Side by side for 3rd spot between Charlie Sharman and Alexander Preston. So that's 4th spot because, of course, Brian Chandler is just ahead of them. Once again, a nice wide line from Blake Baldwin. Ed Gay has been dropped from 3rd spot. And not such a good start, so he's down to 6th spot. Braking hard into the 2nd hairpin, running very, very wide from Blake Baldwin and almost inviting Ben Short up the inside, but there is just no room and more grip around the outside. A bit of a mud bath being given to Wally Leach. Another new driver to the championship with his yellow box and black cross on the back of the car to denote that he's a rookie. And a little bit wide going through the quick turn in the middle of the circuit before Oggies. Brian Chandler's made the same mistake, and he's handed the 3rd spot to Alexander Preston. Well, that was very kind of him. No challenge from Ben Short then, just too far back. Onto the black straight then. James Blake Baldwin ahead of Ben Short in 2nd position, then Alexander Preston, and then Brian Chandler, a winner at Silverstone last time out. Chandler making that mistake early on and down to 4th position. A good battle though for 5th. That's the red stripe of Charlie Sharman going to the outside line of Ed Gay, trying to find his way past. Give him the inside line, and then he's being watched by Simon Goddard in the 86 car, and then the 33 car of Jason Greatrex, stalwart of club racing here in the UK, and at the moment he's having a quiet one through this first lap. Through the bomb hole, keeps the car away from the curbs. This is a really tricky corner. It was always a tricky corner back in the old Snetterton days. It tightens and tightens on you, and you have to get the car stopped. Blake Baldwin just runs a little bit long into the corner, and in fact, a better line from Ben Short into slipstream. And now an opportunity for the XO consultancy car. You can hardly see him behind the Blake Baldwin car going into turn 1. Not much of a braking zone, but probably just enough to try and find a way past. But as Blake Baldwin demonstrated in the first lap, there's far more grip on the outside line anyway. So even if Ben Short had dived up the inside, there would be no chance to get past, and he didn't anyway. So going down towards the hairpin, Blake Baldwin holding on to the lead. Both taking nice wide lines, avoiding the slippery stuff on the inside. Letting the car run over, just kiss the curb on the left-hand side, switch the car to the right side of the track. And once again, searching for the water. Kumo tyres working very well. Now down towards the hairpin of Agostini. No chance for Ben Short to get anywhere near. And in fact, looks like to me that 32 car might just be reeling these two in just a little bit. Alexander Preston started in 6th spot. Oh, I think that was Blake Baldwin slowing down. And we have a new leader who gets it very crossed up. Going towards Oggies, he just about manages to gather it up. But I think Ben Short in the 6th car is now the leader of our race. Just saw a flash of blue. And there he is, yes. Blake Baldwin has either made a mistake coming out of Agostini, or he's got a problem with the car, because he's now into 2nd position and he's under pressure from Alexander Preston. Let's have a look as he then accelerates up towards the back end of the circuit. Oh, and that looks like one of the BS Motorsport cars. It is the 82 car of Jonathan Bailey, having it redesigned. Does he keep it going? Yes, he does. Good job. The rallycross points it in the right direction. Off we go again. Good battle further back. That's Jack Sycamore in the 91 car under pressure from Ashley Grant, who goes left. And David Niddell goes right, so 3 wide and 3 wide further up the circuit. A big slide from the 42 machine of Charlie Charman. Oh dear, and he goes very wide, as does Jason Greatrix behind, and that's going to invite Simon Goddard into what is 4th position. Thank you very much, says Simon. The only man to really keep it on the island there. And he's gifted with 4th spot. Ahead of him though, Brian Chandler, then Alexander Preston, and this man, Ben Short, who leads the race. That's the last lap board. Didn't give it to the leader. That's the last lap board. It goes out to the 2nd place man as Jason Greatrix goes off-roading again. And from a really strong 4th spot, he's dropping down the field. Gets passed by yet another driver. But Ben Short, though, is looking good to pick up his 1st win of the season. And with the demise of Blake Baldwin, who just seems to have disappeared, the car running aground somewhere, and really handed the command to Ben Short in this one. He came 2nd in his 1st race at Silverstone, but wasn't able to replicate that in race 2. There's his lead over Alexander Preston in 2nd spot. Good battling going on further back as Ed Gay tries to cement his 6th position. As we said before, a new man to the championship and one to watch throughout the season. He's got a good car underneath him. It's working well. So Brian Chandler goes through Shot in 3rd, Simon Goddard in 4th position, and then that's Charlie Charman in 5th position with Ed Gay just behind him, and then the Jason Greatrix car that's rather looking muddy now. But Ben Short coming through the final turn here at Snetterton. Lovely little slide for the cameras. And he's going to go and move himself up well into contention in this championship as the checkered flag awaits for him here in Norfolk. There it is, the man from Mere takes race 2 victory. So Ben Short takes victory ahead of Alexander Preston, and Brian Chandler round out the podium. Simon Goddard, Charlie Charman and Ed Gay, the top 6, then Jason Greatrix and Jade Edwards, the top 8.
Well, a great win there from Ben Short, but who will triumph when Groups E and A battle it out?
Well, on the front row of the grid, Tom Roach, the championship leader, beside Eduardo Rodriguez. And Rodriguez, remember, not making a particularly good start in his 1st race. He dropped to 4th position. On board with Tom Roach, looking back at Rodriguez, who's under pressure from row 2. And And that, I think, is Adam Gore in the number 2 car, second in the championship last year, moving up into second in this race and already giving chase to Tom Roach, who won the championship. They've got one car facing the wrong direction already, and that is the 1-2-3 car of Callum Edwards. They all muscle their way through the hairpin. We look into the middle of the pack where all the action is, and Carl Powell is trying to sort himself out with his teammate, the 81 car from the Ma5da Speed stable. So number 1 leads number 2. Oh, Rodriguez is down to 4th already, side by side with Mark Litherland. Litherland is going to be on the outside line though. It's Belindi who leads the race. FindMeAGift.com in 2nd position, and then the XO stable in 3rd, and we've got another one facing the wrong direction. Matthew Lambert, after such a strong race 1, and he's binned it on the lap 1 of race 2. Rodriguez fending off the 39 car of Brett Smith, who was well up there, if you remember, in the first race that we saw. So each driver getting 2 races over this weekend, although of course because of such a massive grid we do have 5 different actual races going on. Lots of battling going on mid-pack. The 35 car there going around the outside is Richard Puddle, and he's got a rookie sign on the back of his car, but he's definitely not a rookie. He's raced in all sorts of singles club championships throughout the years. Eduardo Rodriguez fending off the attention of Brett Smith. In fact, both of them have managed to now pass Mark Litherland. So Litherland stropped back. He was fighting for 3rd position just a few corners ago. So Rodriguez holds that position ahead of Brett Smith in 4th. Litherland is 5th. And the racing has been so well behaved that there was a crow standing in the gravel trap there. He knows that these guys aren't going to be knocking each other off. Tom Roach ahead of Adam Gore. They know each other very well from racing in this championship last year. Roach won both of his races at Silverstone for the opening rounds of the championship. You get a point for fastest lap as well, and he collected one of each of those in his first campaign. You do get a couple more points for most positions improved, but of course if you are starting at the front of the grid, then there's no way of improving. You're only going to go backwards. Eduardo Rodriguez has lost 1 position since the start of the race. Adam Gore started 4th and rocketed into 2nd position on that first lap. A great start from him. Through Palmer's goes Tom Roach. The rear end really sitting down as he accelerates his way. Oh, we got cars off. Oh dearie me. Oh, and that was from right in the middle of the pack as well. James Leach there managing to take his car back onto circuit, but we've got 2 in the gravel. Callum Edwards and Mark Litherland, as the racing still continues right in the middle and the centre of the pack. And there is a recovering Matthew Lambert. Oh, where's he going? Oh, he's missed his braking point completely, and off onto the grass on the outside of Agostini there. Did such a great job from starting in 18th in his first race, but now way back. Battle for 8th, and that is the 97 car of Carl Powell who leads it. Also Chris Lovett there in the 62 car. We've seen those guys battling, and we've got a safety car out. That of course is for the various Ma5das that have been deposited in various gravel traps around this 3-mile circuit. An opportunity maybe for Adam Gore to get back into contention for this race. The trusty marshals doing their thing. Very trusty when it's so wet here at Snetterton. Lights out though, and we're going to be going racing in just a few moments' time. No overtaking until the start-finishing line, but Tom Roach has already gone. Adam Gore's not going to get close to him, not even going to get in the slipstream. Over the start and finishing line they go. Got about 3 laps remaining of this race, and those 2 are well ahead, but a good gap put between Roach and Gore. Oh dear, and Chris Lovett's made a massive error at that final turn, and from battling just around the top 10, he's plummeted down to the back of the field. Further ahead of him though, the battle between car 70, Daniel Rogers, and being pursued there by the 31 car of Simon Baldwin. But at the front of the field, it's Roach who's now stretched a nice little lead ahead of Gore and Brett Smith in 3rd position. Still Gore under a little bit of pressure from Smith. It's going to be a good weekend for Brett, who managed to get himself on the podium in his first race today. and keeping Gore honest. Remember, number 1 dictates the fact that Tom Roach was the winner of this championship last year. Number 2 says that Adam Gore was second in the championship. So Brett is in very, very good company indeed. Oh dear, big damage. Big damage to the 74 car of Sam Gendy. What's he been up to? He's rear-ended someone. Oh no. And they're in the same team. The 81 car recovering back into the race. But Gendy's going to have to try and limp that thing home. There is Roach, looking like he's still attacking pretty hard through Palmer's. Pushing very well indeed, looking much more racy than we've seen some of the earlier races. And here's the class of field. Whoop! Round goes the 34 car. A little gentle pirouette from Adam Craig from Stockton-on-Tees. And Adam's going to drop way down the field. In fact, I think he was doing relatively well up until that point. Yeah, 13th. But the checker flag awaits Tom Roach, and he receives it with pleasure, and the fastest lap of the race ahead of Adam Gore and Brett Smith. There we go. Matt Robinson 4th, Simon Baldwin 5th, Daniel Rogers 6th, and then Richard Puddle, Powell, Achem and Lambert got recovered to the top 10.
Join us after the break for the battle between Groups C and D. Both have produced winners today, so should provide some great racing.
Welcome back to Snetterton for rounds 3 and 4 of the Ma5da MX5 Mark 1 Championship. And here is the grid for the next one. James Blake Baldwin on pole position, Rhys Jenkins second with Brian Chandler and Alan Henderson, already a race winner this weekend. Preston and Richard Lambert line up on row 3. So there is Blake Baldwin, who's got his car fixed after problems in his opening race. And as you can see, it is actually a little bit sunnier than it has been throughout the day. It was extremely wet earlier on, but the sun has now come out, and this is tricky conditions. We go on board with Alex Preston, successfully on the podium in his race 1. And breaking through the first turn, you can see the back end already trying to break away from him, and he looks to the inside to try and get a run on the number 12 car of Richard Lambert, and that was successful because he managed to take 2 positions as well. He's lying there now in 6th spot. Managed to negotiate their way through the first 2 turns safely. Plenty of side-by-side action as they try and sort themselves out. Capacity grid once more. Blake Baldwin second then to Rhys Jones, who missed out in his first race of the weekend and only could manage second after that last lap dive from Alan Henderson. Henderson is in this one as well, so Jenkins is going to have to be really concentrated. There's Henderson sliding up into 3rd position ahead of Brian Chandler, and the rest of the field all filtering their way through. Plenty of back end action. Chris Hart there in the 22 car running wide. We had an onboard from him in his race 1. There's Chandler sitting behind Alan Henderson, the winner of his first race. So Blake Baldwin should have won his first race of the weekend, but he had a car problem. Henderson did win his first race, and Rhys Jenkins was just slightly robbed. Oh, dear me, that's plenty of cars going into one pass of the circuit. The 118 car of Carl Andrews getting bombarded from behind. So Jenkins ahead of Blake Baldwin. Blake Baldwin to the inside line. The circuit is slowly drying up, so tyre pressures are going to be tricky. Blake Baldwin takes the inside and takes the lead of the race. Ooh, looks like he's going to run a little bit wide. He does, and dips his tyre into the mud and covers. Oh dear, poor old Rhys Jenkins completely covered his car in mud. Quick flick of the windscreen wipers there as the realisation set in that he could not see a thing. Now through the penultimate turns, a dab of the brakes just to get the rear end settled down and then get the car sitting and power through this very, 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 very long right-hand turn. We finally cut to the final corner where you can get it straightened up, flick it left, and then back towards the start and finishing line. And Rhys Jenkins is already back on the attack, side by side towards the line. This is what Ma5da Racing is all about. Come sunshine, come action. Blake Baldwin to the left, Jenkins to the right. Henderson watching from behind. He wouldn't mind another race win, that's for sure. Baldwin's going to have the inside line though. Oh, Jenkins cuts back, and they're still side by side through turn 1. What great racing between these two, and now Jenkins has got the inside line, but all of this is going to allow Henderson to get involved as well. Blake Baldwin is later on the brakes and goes super, super wide. And in fact invites Henderson right onto the inside. So Blake Baldwin, I think his wide line, his wet wide line, sometimes works, but in this occasion, as it's drying, it certainly didn't work. Through Palmer, rear end looking very settled. And now into Agostini. Ooh, just a little bit twitchy, locks the rears, under braking and just about manages to get the power back down. But you could have seen the rear tyre there completely locked up, therefore hardly any braking, certainly no traction. And here is Alex Preston. And Alex is lying in 5th position, so yet another solid performance from the Blindy Motorsport driver. Through this very fast left-hander, misses the apex just fractionally. Oh, you really don't want to go off the circuit, it's so muddy. And then through Oggies. And here's a battle of 16th position as the 54 car. So Gary Holford was trying to go past into 16th spot, past John Powell, but missed his braking point by a country mile. But what can Blake Baldwin do? Absolutely 0 points from race 1 of the weekend, having retired, and he'll be able to drop that score, but he really wants to have another good result, a solid result after taking victory at Silverstone. He'll want to try and take victory here, but Jenkins will have the fire in his belly after losing out in race 1 to Alan Henderson, and Henderson lying 3rd position, not a familiar place for him at the start line. Whoa, and that looks like Brian Chandler off from 4th position, and he nudges the wall as well. Plenty of smoke and flame going from the underside of the car. Further back, we've got plenty of action too. The 50 car there of Darren Standing doing a bit of defending work. And who could miss the 89 car of Paul Monteith? Beautiful little livery on his. Whoa, what a massive slide. Absolutely unbelievable work. Congratulations to Simon Goddard for holding that one together. Although he did lose a position. I think that's Richard Puddle that went past him. Back to our leader, Rhys Jenkins. Still struggling with the braking zone there. The car just looking really twitchy in Agostini. It's allowed Blake Baldwin to just get a little bit closer, and Henderson sort of sitting and waiting really to see what happens. Battle for 18th and 19th spots. Paul Monteith in that beautifully liveried 89 car being attacked slightly by Simon Deaton in the 127. And lying in 20th position, Amy Barker, one of the many female racers in the Ma5da Championship. Kylie Latham is one of the stalwarts really of this Mark 1 series. And who are we looking at now? That's the 54 car that was being bombarded earlier on. Whee, big old slide. Good job, John Powell. And he's got Gary Holford coming back at him. Again, they are still fighting for just outside the top 10, so good job. Now here comes Blake Baldwin down the inside, his favourite overtaking move. He just needs to get to the inside line to defend the position. He's past Rhys Jenkins, and don't run wide into the mud. He keeps off the curb, and now Rhys is going to attack him again. Did that earlier on in the race and spat mud into Rhys Jenkins' windscreen. This time, however, a much cleaner move, and he's made it stick. Now he's going to have to go a little bit defensive. Not really much point in diving up the inside through Coram because there's just no space to get through. The corner just goes on forever. But Blake Baldwin sticks the car on the inside, protects the inside line. Jenkins just has to rely on the sheer horsepower of his little Ma5da, sits in the slipstream, tries to get a little bit of a drag, and there is the last lap board, the 1600cc engines squealing for mercy as they go over the start-finishing line, and now Henderson has the signal to attack. Blake Baldwin really the fastest of these three guys so far, but Henderson with a win under his belt already knows that he can challenge. Oh, and Rhys Jenkins getting a little bit squirrely out of turn one. He's going to invite Henderson down the inside for the hairpin, and that does happen. Now, can he complete the move? Because what he doesn't want is Rhys Jenkins on his inside going through Palmer's, which is a fast left-hander. He just about manages to shut the door. So poor old Rhys Jenkins drops down 2 positions. Can he make a move into Agostini? It's where he's been very late on the brakes. The car's not looked particularly settled through this hairpin here. Onto the brakes once again. Oh, they're both much stronger on the brakes than Blake Baldwin, who is very cautious. Almost invites Henderson down the inside line there, but Henderson decides against it. Of course, they do have into the S's, into Nelson, where the next opportunity for braking is, and maybe the last corner. We saw Henderson doing that last time. Into Oggies. This is a bit of a braking zone as well to make a move, and it gives you the inside line for Williams as well. But Henderson managing to defend through there. Now to Williams. And onto the back straight. And not much that Blake Baldwin can do. He's got to punch the hole in the air. He's going to supply the slipstream to the two cars behind, and it's going to be Rhys Jenkins who's going to pick up the best slipstream of the three, being the third car in that group. He jinks to the right-hand side, the inside for the first part of the S's, but the outside for the second part. Can he get the door shut and make the move stick? The car looking very, very loose under him, but he managing to move into second position. Henderson has a quick look down the inside, but no way to go, and he dips a wheel into the mud. That's Henderson over and done with then. No more chance for him to win this race. But what about Jenkins going into the final two turns then? A mistake from Blake Baldwin, but it's okay. He can defend through Coram. He just needs to position his car enough at Murray's, the final left-hand turn, to make sure he's not attacked. They're both absolutely flat chat as the circuit starts to dry, and he slicks up the inside. There's an overlap. What a move from Rhys Jenkins to pass and take the win in this particular race, his second race of the weekend. Blake Baldwin is going to be eluded a race win, and Rhys Jenkins, after having that move done to him in race one, does it in race two ahead of Blake Baldwin, and Henderson rounds out the top three. There's confirmation of the results with Jenkins ahead of Blake Baldwin and Henderson. Preston picks up a successful fourth spot ahead of Leach, and Tolley rounds out the top six. We've got one more race for you between Tom Roach and Ben Short. Join us after the break. Welcome back to Snetterton. We've got one final race for you this weekend, and it's the big showdown between Tom Roach and Ben Short on the front row of the grid. Adam Gore and Ed Gay, row 2. Mark Litherland will be trying to recover after his disappointing race 1, and Charlie Charman rounds out the top 6. So there's Tom on the dry line on pole position, and alongside him Ben Short, and a great start from Tom Roach then. He's going to lead into the first corner by a country mile. The inside line getting a much better start on the dry line, and Ben Short is going to be gobbled up, I think, even by Adam Gore, who's going to try to have a look down the inside. No way past. The front three slot into formation, then it's 3 wide further back. Lots of white cars. Difficult to see exactly which white cars they are. But for sure, Ed Gay is one of them. It's Tom Roach who leads. Ben Short in second. Adam Gore third. Ooh, big slide. And I think that was Blackwell Chambers losing out from 6th position as they continue to sort themselves out further down. The 29 car of Yuri Horolek going around the outside as they come to Palmer's. They'll sort themselves out. Good battles further forward. That's Mark Litherland, who's made a slight mistake and runs over the curb, and I think he's going to invite the 69 car down the inside of Matt Robinson. The front three go through. Oh, and someone's had a big off through Palmer's. John Cockburn-Evans from Bury St Edmunds finally getting the car facing the right direction again. I think he managed to get away without hitting the barriers as well. Roach turns his way through Oggies, followed by Ben Short, then Adam Gore. So the front two have already won this weekend. We'll be looking for their second win of the weekend, but only one. Obviously can take the fastest lap of this race. So there is Matt Robinson, now ahead of Mark Litherland, as we predicted. And the leaders are already at the S's. The circuit almost looks dry now. Amazing to think that in the morning it was monsoon conditions, and now there is a definite dry line appearing. The tyre squealing starting to happen. Of course, tyre pressure is very difficult to set when it's going to build up so much heat. Everyone now beginning to learn these Kumho tyres and how they work best. Look at the big slides from Roach, and then Ben Short in second position, and Roach makes a little mistake there, in fact, I think. He looks at his mirrors to see what's going to happen behind him. But Adam Gore is the one that looks like he's moving. He's in the slipstream of Ben Short. Let's see if he can get past. Not close enough. as yet. The windscreen wiper's still on Ben Short's car as Tom Roach starts to whip up a little bit of water, but Roach has got this one in the bag already by the looks of things, looking very, very strong. Comes towards the hairpin. Much more on the racing line now than they were at the start of the weekend. Whoa, side by side as Ed Gay defends from Jade Edwards into turn one. That's a very fast place to be on the grass, but Jade, a consummate professional when it comes to racing, and keeps the car pointing in the right direction. And they've got Mark Litherland just ahead as well. The battle continues. Ooh, Litherland made a mistake there by the looks of things, and Gay's going to be on his tail going into Palmer's. Not really an overtaking opportunity, but this is new territory for Ed Gay. As we've said before, it's new to this championship. Already got a very mud-splattered car from someone kicking up the dust ahead of him. And further back, battles continue to rage. Back in this little group, number 30, Julian Taylor, someone we've seen so far. And they're battling for just outside the top 20. There is Ben Short. Second position, still under pressure from Adam Gore. Oh, a little bit of mistake as well from Ben. He seemed to dip a wheel either on the dirt or there was a puddle on the outside of Williams there as he turned in. We flick back to the battle between Gay and Edwards. And Litherfield's in there as well. And now it looks like Carl Powell's on the back of the group as well. So we've got a little bit more of a battle as they head down the back straight. Just ahead of all of them is the 42 car, who's having a very lonely race. Charlie Charman. He's now turning into Nelson. So there is the battle between Litherland, who's the third of the white cars, Edwards the second, and Gay, who leads it in fifth position. Then it's Carl Powell and Richie Puddle just behind them. Richie's been racing in front-wheel drive saloon cars. I don't know why he's got a novice plate on the back of his car, but either way, he's... oh, he hasn't. Oh, we must have seen him in a different car earlier on. Over the start and finishing line, then the lead has come. Roach, who took a victory in both of his races at Silverstone and took fastest lap and took victory in race one of his weekend. Now the sun's shining and it looks like he's going to take another victory because he's just slowly stretching the lead over Ben Short. The circuit drying all the time though, so Ben is managing to get a couple of the faster laps in and picking up one extra point for that. Means he'll only drop 1 point on Roach's score. It's 100 points for the win, it's 98 for second, but you get 1 point for fastest lap. You get 4 points for best improver, but of course both of these two starting on the front row of the grid. And Adam Gore, who had the most points at the end of the championship last year, but due to drop scores only finished second, doesn't seem to have the answer around this slippery Snetterton circuit. He's got the number plate still in the car, so he can drive it home. But third position is all he can manage. Looking back into the pack, and that was the recovering John Cockburn-Evans. We saw him heading off backwards at the start of the race, and he's managing to find his way up through the field once more, just outside the top 20 at the moment. Good battle going on though for the outskirts of the top 10 still. Carl Powell, Richie Puddle, Mark Litherland, all still in there as Ed Gay just has a slight stretch of an advantage, and Matt Robinson also the 69 car in that nice little battle, but it's not really as tight and frenetic as you would expect Ma5da Racing to be. I think they've all quite happy. They survived down the inside though. Comes Carl Powell, oh no, and shoves Jade Edwards off. She's managed to keep her white car looking relatively white, but now it's looking distinctly brown. Nips it in the puddle to clean it off a little bit. It was a bit mean really. Slightly aggressive, and now he's got Matt Robinson right behind him coming up towards turn one. Robinson goes to the inside line, and that should be an easy pass. Oh, look at the cars covered in mud. Amazing. Good pass though from Matt Robinson up to sixth position, but all that's allowed Ed Gay to stretch his advantage. And that is Adam Gore moving up into second position. No, it's not. Yes, it is. So Ben Short's had a real problem. He's dropped down into third spot. He's made a mistake somewhere because Gore was definitely nowhere near close enough to be able to do that. And now Gore is up into second spot and setting about challenging Tom Roach. So what happened to Ben, I wonder? through Oggies. Tom Roach continues to stretch his lead, but now at least Adam Gore's up into second. Big slide, woohoo, from Ben Short as he just dipped a wheel into the slippery stuff. We look further back to the battle of sixth position between Matt Robinson, Kyle Powell, and then further back still to Sam Gendy. Oh, Sam, nice slide, good job through Agostini there. They managed to get their old hammers out and managed to put the bonnet straight that was rather dented when he had an accident in his first race. Through the final turn though, Tom Roach gingerly examines his rear mirror and sees that no one's there and heads down the start and finish straight to pick up the last lap board. So it's going to be 4 out of 4 for Tom Roach if he manages to keep it on the island for this final lap. Ben Short's got ahead of Adam Gore once more. We didn't see how that happened, but they've been having a nice little battle over the last couple of laps. It's completely compromised any chance of challenging for the win of the race. Outskirts the top 20. I think that Cockburn Evans is still getting used to his car. Big lock-up moment going into the S's. Now, has Gore got an answer in these final couple of laps? Tom Roach is easily going to take the victory. Oh, and Gore goes down the inside of Ben. We've still got game on here. Then side by side, Ben's got the inside line and muscles Adam off onto the grass just a little bit, flat out through this left kink, and then a bit of a braking zone into Oggies, but it's all lightened up in the last lap here. So Ben Short now turns through Oggies. The back end wants to step out, as does Adam Gores, but Adam managing to control the slide through Williams. Oh, back end steps out, then a bit of oversteer, then a bit of understeer. The car looks a handful. Further back, still plenty of action. David Adele, 15th position, having a nice little battle there with Callum Edwards. Sorry, that's not Callum Edwards, is it? That's the 72 car of Matthew Short, who manages to take the position. Short moving up to 15th spot then. Oh, and gets a nudge through Oggies, and round he goes. And Matt onto the muddy stuff. And after all that hard work, it was a lovely little move. But he's going to be punished and drop way down the field. Through the final turn, not even in the correct racing gear, Tom Roach gingerly taking his car to the start and finishing line. But who will it be in second position? Roach gets full points once again. Ben Short second, Adam Gore third in the slipstream. I'm sure there'll be some choice words between that lot, but it's been a fantastic weekend's worth of racing from these Mazdas. And finally, Tom Roach is the victor. Confirmation of the results, and Charlie Charman a lonely 4th position ahead of Ed Gay, Matt Robinson, Kyle Powell, Richie Puddle rounds out in 8th, and then Litherland and Blackwell Chambers in 10th.
It was really tricky that time. The first race was really good. It was wet. My car felt amazing. I felt fairly confident in that. But that race was so tricky. It was dry in every lap, and every lap you knew it was going to be drier than the last time, but you didn't know how much, and so it was where to brake. And Ben kept catching me, and then I just managed to get away, and then he'd catch me again, and yeah, it was really good.
So in the championship then, Tom Roach leads the way after 4 wins. Rhys Jenkins second after staying on the podium throughout the season so far. Then it's Ben Short, Alex Preston in 3rd with him, and Adam Gore in 4th with Alan Henderson in 5th spot after a disappointing Silverstone. Well, that's all we've got time for here on Motors TV from Snetterton. Next week, it will be the Mazda Mark IIIs. We'll see you then.